Want to know what ruffles my feathers is groceries are so dang expensive. I have a family of four, and I probably spend at least $200 a week on groceries alone. What is happening? And by the end of the week, we're ready to go back to the store because our fridge is about empty. And my kids are fruit fiends. So, yeah, I just bought bulk of strawberries at Aldi because they're 99 cents today. I practically have to take out a dang loan every month just to go grocery shopping. It's absolutely insane.
Y'all, my stomach dropped this morning when I read that the average cost of living for a family of four in the US was $186K a year. So, of course,
No, 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 no. Her caption said living in Alabama. She said the average cost of living in Alabama is almost 200K. It says 194K. I can't see that at all.
average cost of living for a family of four in the US was $186K a year. So, of course, I had to look up Alabama and do some math. And by the way, Alabama is seventh from the bottom of the list of poverty, and I can see why. Because $533 a day just to survive. And we're talking shelter, food, and basic necessities. That's not including vacations, cars, cell phone. $533 a day. I know people that don't even make that in a week. But I sure do understand why a lot of moms and dads are out here doing side hustles, delivering groceries, learning how to make money online, UGC, TikTok shop, digital marketing, selling courses where they make $500 a sale, which I didn't even know was a thing until a year ago. Because what the hell? Is everyone just underpaid or is the math broken?
Why is rent so expensive? I remember like 9 years ago, we lived in like a two-bedroom apartment for 500 or $550 a month. And now
Hmm.
a two-bedroom apartment would cost you way over a grand. A three-bedroom over 2 grand. And not even that nice of an apartment. And it's like they say you got to make two times the rent to even be able to get the place. A lot of people don't make that. I know that a lot of people are having to have roommates or live with family just to survive. How can that even be legal? It's crazy, man. Just let people be able to live.
Yeah, I think the real big caveat here is we have to divide out what we're talking about when we're talking about these things. Because the last woman, she said she used the word we in regards to what the prices were for her to have an apartment before and now. Yes, if you have a family, absolutely, for each bedroom that you add, it's a multiplier effect. And I can see why she would say that it can get in the 3,000s of what it would cost now. But if you're single, I think you can still find some relatively decent priced apartments and things like that. Now, when we start talking about homes, now we're in a whole another realm, which also, if you have a family, then your preference might be to want to have a home. So I definitely agree with that. I also think that in the case of the woman who mentioned, she likes strawberries and all that type of stuff. In the case of that, where she's saying just how prices are fluctuating on things like that, from my experience, things always fluctuate on like produce, especially seasonal type of produce. And my philosophy has always just been I get things at the time that they are, priced the most competitive. So, just for an example, like when eggs were through the roof, like when they were charging crazy prices for eggs, I think I went in there one time and eggs, just to buy a carton of 18 eggs, it was like $11. And I just said, well, looks like I won't be having eggs for a while because I think based off value. And for me to spend my money, it's got to be worth it to me. And if it's not worth it, then I will just go without and I will come up with an alternative. If I'm gonna pay $11 for eggs, I'm gonna just go somewhere and just buy a breakfast and have them prepared and have them cooking. That's just me. Y'all, before we get back into the video, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and actually helps out more than you know. And also if you could hype.
Rent in the US is $3,000 a month. Landlords want you to make three times that, which is $9,000 a month, and then that's like $100,000 for the year. And here's my thing: I get that everything is going up. I get that inflation, I get all of that, right? I get landlords need to make money too, but I feel like at some point it's no longer realistic. If everybody's rent is $3,000, where is everybody supposed to live? Because not everyone has a job that gives them $3,000. And then the rent is $3,000, but have y'all seen the apartments? Coming from a person who was actively looking for an apartment for 2 years straight, either the house looks like something George Washington and the crew lived in, it has some kind of infestation that you end up hearing about through the neighbors, like as you're doing the apartment tour. The management team is horrible. Like, and even sometimes with private landlords, I remember our landlord told me we could pay him first month's security, last month's rent, but he's not going to fix up the apartment until we move in. So he's not going to do any renovations until we move in. So what the fuck I look like and what this look like? Like, I don't even think it's the fact anymore that the rent is so expensive. I think it's the fact that the rent is so expensive and you're not getting nothing from it. I seen a video not too long ago, and the creator of the video was saying he pays $5,000 a month for his rent. None of the utilities he was promised when he signed the lease are like accessible to him. So you're just paying $5,000 now for what? It's just not making sense. And I feel like people will side with the landlord because a lot of people is just so like not smart. We need to lower the rent. Like the rent, there needs to be rent control because $3,000 is crazy. Public service announcement.
Something's not making sense with what she's talking about, because she started off she started off talking about houses. Then she went on to talk about apartments, right? And the number she gave was $3,000 of rent. But then she said, how are we supposed to make three times the rent? Which three times $3,000 is almost 10 grand. I don't think that for a house, you would be renting in the same way like if you were renting from an apartment complex that's owned by a leasing company, right? As well as she even went further to say that she did have a scenario where she was dealing with a single landlord, and he told her that he wouldn't renovate the house until you move in. So now it seems like you're definitely renting from a private landlord. And in that case, I don't see why he would have the stipulation of you have to make three times the rent. Even if he does, you can definitely negotiate that. It's not written in stone. It's not like he's got a bunch of properties. Right. And every day that he doesn't have someone in there, he's paying on it. So that's a whole different scenario than an apartment. It just seemed like she kind of conflated the things. And also, it sounds like, the $3,000 rent thing. Again, we're trying to figure out whether she's talking about an apartment or a house, but she sounds like she like has a northern accent, possibly lives in New York. So I think that would definitely explain why she would say you pay an astronomical rent and then you're getting a place that looks like it hasn't been renovated, and it looks like it's back in George Washington days. If she lives in New York, that would make sense.
Man, I'm gonna need them to pipe it down a notch on these gas prices, okay? Because it's like ever since them people in the motherfucking White House got into it, Iran, them gas prices been going up daily. And I live in California. It's like crazy that these gas prices almost pushing $6 a gallon. Like, y'all need to pipe that shit down. Slow that shit down, little baby. Cause like stuff is not affordable around here. We ain't got it like that. We barely struggling to make it and survive in this world. And yeah. In a minute, we all finna be like traveling on scooters, bikes, taking a bus, and the train. Because pipe it down on these gas prices. Slow it down. Stop it. Stop. Just stop. Because we ain't got it like that. Y'all have a good day.
Let's see what this month's electric bill is. Last month it was $527, and that was before the snowstorm. $626.05. Unbelievable. Honestly, I'm a little relieved because I was thinking it was probably going to be at least $800.
Oh,
$626 fucking dollars for an electric bill. My energy usage. Okay, so I have a base monthly electric charge of $25. Then my energy usage, $134.48. Then the electric power recovery charge, $459.58, for a grand total of $619.06. County tax of $1.50, state consumption tax of $5.49. Total amount due $626.05. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
her shirt says Nashville.
$626.
Obviously, the cost of living.
Her shirt says Nashville, so I'm guessing she lives in Tennessee. I would say in her case, she probably most definitely has a house, right? Now, it sounds like she really didn't consume that much, but they like tack something on. I think the biggest thing is just that energy as a whole, gas, electricity, all that good stuff right now, energy is through the roof. And I think the stock market feels it as well. The stock market was down last time I checked due to the energy crisis as well as the Federal Reserve basically kind of going back on wanting to make the cuts that they were supposed to be making this year. That was supposed to kind of help the economy. And I didn't get to go too deep, but I hear they're about to start printing money again. So that's going to be, if you think things are expensive right now, if they start printing money again, it's just going to be, that's what causes inflation. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But man, a six, she said she was expecting it to be $800 for her, just for her energy bill. And people also have to deal with the gas prices right now. Hopefully we can get that resolved as soon as possible, but it's real. I felt it myself when I went and got some gas.
Crisis is crazy. And then you add on to that, like, there's going to be no petrol apparently. So we're all going to be stuck at home again, which, look, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, sign me the fuck up. I will stay home. I will work from home. I will do whatever I have to do to stay my ass in my house. But then, like, they've shut all the vape stores down. So then you've got all these people that are withdrawing. They up the price of cigarettes. They up the price of alcohol. So basically no one can have fun. Then they, like, are going to shut down Cornhub. Great. Now you're going to have, like, horny, corny, hungry, stuck people at home that can't afford food, that can't get petrol, that can't leave their house. They can't jack off to anything at home anymore. So you're literally stuck. Yeah, great. Watch the crime rate, like, increase dramatically, and watch all the humans of the world start doing some fucking wild shit. And then I went and got my kids their Easter shit because I'm going to be on uni placement and I'm not going to be able to get to the shops. There was no price tag on this on the shelf, and I was like, I mean, it can't be too much. It's 545 grams of mixed bag chocolate, which is literally half the bag. Tell me why when I went through the self-serve checkout it came up, because there's no workers on the checkouts. Not blaming the workers, blaming the company. This bag was $17.50. I was like, am I missing something?
I was not expecting that price. I was not expecting that. Almost $20 for.
Am I actually fucking missing something? Now you can't even get chocolate at Easter time because you can't fucking afford it. What the fuck?
I can't imagine having to provide for a family and shop for a family in this economy. I only have to worry about myself, and I would like to keep it that way. I came to Walmart. Yes, I shopped at Walmart. I had to pick up a few things. It was right by my work, and I went and got my nails done. Yeah, I got, let's see, what did I get? I got 3 tank tops, super cheap tank tops, under $4. I got toothpaste. I got mouthwash. I got toilet wipes. I got razors. And I got 3 protein shakes. And it was $60. Like, I know that it all adds up, but I'm thinking like $60 for this, okay, because most of it was like toiletries, so that shit adds up. But I'm thinking, how do people come grocery shopping and like buy a lot of food? Like, I don't grocery shop I don't buy a lot of food because it just goes to waste. So my groceries isn't too crazy, but I can't imagine having to grocery shop and spending like $300+ on groceries a week. Like, and then that's not even
Yeah.
like toilet paper, paper towels, toiletries. That's crazy. Like, what the fuck is what are we are ruined, really.
This is something we got to talk about.
Yeah, I think, and that's why I made that distinction at the beginning, because man, it is a multiplier. Just like how I said with the rooms, when you get a place, how that multiplies how much your rent is going to be exponentially. What I didn't touch on was, I mean, that actually stretches out across all other areas as well, whether we're talking groceries, whether we're talking energy consumption, whether we're talking entertainment. Everything else gets multiplied. And when you see something like inflation going so much more than wages growing, when you see something like that happening, but then you have people who have more overhead than others, and again, your family is going to be more overhead than others because you're going to have dependents. When you see that going on, then you can see how the effects can multiply for people who have to carry more. So, I mean, in a lot of these examples, we've only really seen families of like maybe 2 kids at most. But there are absolutely a lot of people with far more kids than that. And there's people who are single with far more kids than that. But I would argue, even if you're not, even if it's a 2 parent household and both people are working, anything over 2 kids, I can imagine that they have to be feeling it unless they have really good jobs or savings. But I can imagine you could still be depleting your savings and things like that at a high rate as well. So again, I think you really see the effects when you just don't have the wage growth at the same rate of inflation, while at the same time having people from technical fields having you have people from technical fields who are being laid off or completely being displaced because of new technology now. And these people are people who are used to working. These are people who they're not just gonna they're gonna get on it. They're gonna be trying to bounce back fast. And by bounce back fast, that means they're probably gonna be coming into your field, which just adds more qualified talent, which allows that wage growth to slow even faster. Because now the companies have the option to either get rid of a lot of people just to implement more technology, which would be cheaper, or now they have more candidates to choose from, which allows them to correct a lot of salary growth as well. So, and that's not even including the people coming off government assistance too. That's about to be looking for jobs, I guess. But y'all, we'll probably leave it there for today. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button, then it shows the points. And since I'm a smaller content creator, we actually get more points per hype. And then also Patreon's link below if you want to see self-improvement content as well. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.